Hello, Kim.
Hi, Sophie.
We've got another session today.
Yeah, and I'm wearing the glasses.
You're wearing your glasses again because your eye's still not brilliant.
But no, it's still a bit poorly.
Yeah, bless him. So this week's a little bit different. I've come up with some questions that you have absolutely no idea about. So we're going to see how this works. So you're going in cold, so to speak.
Oh, that'd be fun.
I wanted to sort of lighten it a little bit because obviously so many topics tend to be a bit sort of strong and heavy. And what I wanted to know is, music plays such a big part of your life. Can you remember, or can you tell me anything about the first album you bought?
The first album? Yes, I can. The first album I bought, I think, was a Pink Floyd album.
Okay.
And actually, I've still got the album in my library. I'm just trying to think of it. I know it had. I think the first track was "See Emily Play," which I think came out as a single. And I know that album's actually quite valuable.
Ah, okay.
Because I think it was 1967 or 66 it came out, and it was the first Pink Floyd album. Yeah, so I think that was the first one. But I think the ones that are really significant actually are the Deep Purple albums.
Okay.
Because when I heard I was actually listening to the concert on the radio when John Lord and Deep Purple performed with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra at the Albert Hall, a composition that John Lord had written, the keyboard player. I was totally taken by Deep Purple, and actually, I think the following day I went out and bought three of the albums that they actually made up until that point. So that was 1969. But the really important album was their first really rock album, Deep Purple in Rock, and that was really significant.
Tell me more about that. What was so specific about it?
It was one of the very first what we might call heavy rock albums. There were three bands really that formed some people call it heavy metal, I call it heavy rock. The heavy rock era, which was Deep Purple, Black Sabbath, and Led Zeppelin. Okay. Those were the big three, all English.
Yeah.
All English. But before that, we had Eric Clapton and Cream. But they disbanded very early on. They were the first sort of super group. But then Led Zeppelin came on the scene and they really took off very quickly, certainly in America. Deep Purple were a tremendous influence on me because it was the combination of classical music and rock music that John Lord had created.
So more the sound over the lyrics, maybe.
Well, I mean, Deep Purple were more of an instrumental rock band.
I don't know.
So they were. I mean, Ian Gillan he wrote all the lyrics, I think. But they were very much an instrumental. They used to do, long instrumental breaks between the verses and what have you. And classical music, obviously, is, instrumental.
So I know you write a lot about your spirituality. What did they focus on, if anything? Take Deep Purple.
The rock star's lifestyle.
Okay.
I'm a speed king. That was the first track on Deep Purple in Rock. I think that was to do. It was either to do with drugs or it was to do with somebody's car.
Okay.
I can't. I don't actually. I didn't really take much notice of the lyrics of Deep Purple. It was more the instrumental side of it that I was interested in.
So that was 1969. So 56 years later, do they still float your boat?
Well, they're still going.
They are still going, all three of them, in theory. Even though we've just lost Ozzy from Black Sabbath.
Well, yeah. To be honest with you, I was never a great fan of Black Sabbath, although Ian Gillan did end up in it with the vocalist from Deep Purple for a short time. No, I was never. I mean, I do remember that there were 2 singles, Paranoid, which was Black Sabbath's single off, I think, their first album, and Black Knight. I think they were number 1 or number 2 in the top of the pops at one point. So there's tremendous rivalry between those 2 groups. Both heavy rock songs. So,
do they influence your style in any way now?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, when I first heard Deep Purple, I was only 14 years old, and I was full of hormones, very very physical, very strong. I was an athlete, and it was high energy music. So rock music, high energy stuff, and that appealed to me. But I loved classical music.
Okay.
I love things to be melodic. I love melody. I've got to have melody. I can't have noise. And Deep Purple had the melody as well as the energy, and they also had tremendous musicianship. I mean, they were all Class A musicians, properly trained. Richie Blackmore, one of the best guitarists ever. Ian Pace, one of the top rock drummers of all time, and John Lord, certainly probably one of the top 5 keyboard players in the world, in terms of rock bands. So they were incredible. They were great. Their single biggest strength was improvisation. If you went to a Deep Purple concert and they played one of their numbers, it would never be the same. It'd always be different. Because they would, during the instrumental breaks, they would just do their own thing, how they felt at the time. And I really loved that.
Okay.
And in First Things First, the first proper band that we started back in 1973, we did a lot of improv. We did a lot of that. Yeah, so we copied them in that sense. We used to start the rehearsals with a 20-minute jam session.
Yeah. Yeah, so going back to that stage, that was when you and your mates got together, created a band. You were the drummer. So your influences were Deep Purple and that genre of music, and that classical tone.
And classical.
And classical tone.
Yeah. I mean, when I first met Philip, because Philip and I started FTF.
Yeah.
I said to him, that's what I want to do. I want to do what Deep Purple did, in the Albert Hall. I want to do that. And so that was the general strategy.
So did it compare quite well?
There is another band that I think, which actually is still going, a Dutch band called Focus. Now, Focus came together in 1973. I think it was the same year. It's the same year that AC/DC started, and the same year that we started.
Okay.
And they were very much into classical music, Focus, but they were a rock band as well, a bit of jazz in there as well. And they're still going.
Oh, wow.
And they are, I have to say, my favourite band. Well, probably them and Muse. And they're phenomenal. And their classical influence is incredibly strong, but it's also, they're great guitarists, keyboard player, vocals. They're phenomenal. And if somebody said to me, well, who would you like to go and see today? It'd be them. Or Muse, but, that'd probably get difficult to get the tickets.
Yeah, because like you said, they're still going all
Absolutely,
these years on.
I think I saw them in Shrewsbury. This is Focus in Shrewsbury Buttermarket 10 years ago.
Oh wow!
And I literally stood within 5 feet of the band, and it is the best concert I've ever been to.
Oh wow! Okay.
The sound quality was incredible, and they were playing in a basement with brick walls, which acoustically is not easy to make sound good. But the engineer that they had was a master.
What was the drummer like? Because you're the drummer.
What was the drummer like? He's about my same age as me.
Is he
he's good.
He's good. He's better than you.
Everybody's better than me. No, he's very good. He's very good. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's quite nice to get those sort of personal aspects from you because, I mean, I was definitely interested in knowing. So I'm hoping the listeners and the people that are switching on will sort of get a different perspective of you, a different side to you. Because obviously we are going to talk a lot more about your spirituality and abundance. So really appreciate you sharing that with us. Thank you.
I did play in a cover band, if that's of interest.
Oh, did you? Of who?
But oddly, you talk about spirituality. The actual name of the band was Angel.
Ah, okay. Did you name it?
No. It was a female-fronted cover group. We had a young lady who had a fantastic voice, I might add. I think that's where the Angel came from. She was an angelic singer, and it was sort of soul and pop, I have to say, having been the creator of so many songs myself, I didn't find that doing other people's material was of any great interest. I mean, there were some great songs we did.
So who would you generally cover? Which group? Did you have a favourite?
I don't think that, because I'm not really into because my genre really, my background is progressive rock, Genesis, Yes, Pink Floyd, Deep Purple, those sort of groups, Focus. You can't really cover those bands. I mean, they're so unique and they're so they're so different in their style that you could attempt it, but I've never seen a band that could cover Deep Purple. I've seen a few that have tried, but you just can't. It's just
quite iconic, aren't they? Those names.
Totally.
Hence why they're still going now.
You can't match the musicianship of some of these people.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
So we did some covers, and I did it. I think the one thing I got from it was possibly it enabled me to understand a little bit more about conventional songwriting, because a lot of the songs that would appear, some of the songs that appear on the first album, which we'll be releasing in beginning of January, are what we might term conventional pop songs. So it sort of helped me to sort of get an idea of how to write that sort of song.
Okay, that's interesting.
So the cover band was useful. It was
good.
useful. It was useful. Yeah. Oh, we also played in a dance band. Forgot about that. One day. Do you want me to tell you this story?
You were the drummer in a dance band.
Yeah, I've got to tell you this story. So one day I'm up in, this is when I lived in Bushey in Hertfordshire, and we lived in an old Victorian house that was built the same year as the Titanic went down. And this house had really thick walls, one foot thick, no cavity wall. So I could play my drums upstairs in my bedroom without disturbing my mother downstairs or anybody else in the house, which was really great because I had a very loud drum kit. It was a proper professional kit, which I worked in a psychiatric hospital for some time in order to buy. Worked overtime and what have you as a cleaner while I was a student. Anyway, one day somebody knocks on the door. It's me playing upstairs, and this guy, his name was Bob, and he was a builder, so we called him Bob the Builder. Bob the Builder, and he. My mother answered the door and he said, "Can I have a word with the guy playing the drums upstairs?" And so my mum said, "Yeah, hang on, I'll go and get him." So I come down and he said, "My drummer's off sick tonight and he can't make a gig. We got a gig at Luton, in Luton. There's a big hotel in Luton, dinner dance or something. And he said, would you be interested in coming along, doing the drums? He said, it's 35 quid. I said, just give me a minute. I'll just go and pack the kit up.
So you were. I
didn't even ask him what we were going to be playing, but 35 quid was a lot of money.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
This would have been about 1975, something like that.
Yeah.
That was a lot of money.
So when there was a knock at your door, did your mum assume you were in trouble?
No, I don't think so, because she knew the guy, because he lived in the same road as me.
Okay.
So it was a private road, and he lived at one end and we lived at the other. So I knew who the guy was,
So you got a gig that night?
So I got a gig, and they were all in the musicians' union, So Bob, he was a very good businessman. He used to get top rates, And so I did this waltzes and quick steps. It was. For a guy that was a rock drummer, it was a bit boring.
Not your cup of tea, but it was 35
But it was 35 quid.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I got loads more gigs.
From it?
And the biggest one I got 150 for.
Wow.
That was a month's wages for some people.
Yeah.
And that's a separate story, which maybe I'll tell you at some point.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that story. A little history into your first album and what came out of it and where it took you. Thank you.
My pleasure.